Hi everyone, this is Dave from Geekanoids and this is my full review of Apple's brand new iPhone 5S. Now when Apple released this, they actually introduced some new colours. Well, one of the colours was a rehash. Instead of black, it's now space grey. And they also introduced a gold version, which really wasn't that gold, it was more like a champagne colour. Well, I went for the white silver version, and that was because I had an iPhone 5 in that particular colour. I was perfectly happy with the colour. I really like the sort of clean lines that white sort of represents, and it fits in well with my white desk and the rest of my setup, so I didn't see any reason in changing. Apple also introduced some new features in the 5S, which I'm going to cover off in this video, but they also overlooked some points as well, and I want to kick things off by talking about some of the bad points. Now the first one, you can see I've got my iPhone 5S in a case. Why have I got it in a case? Because it is still a very delicate device. Of course, outside of the case it looks absolutely beautiful, but this polished silver bevel around the edge of the device is very, very delicate still, and it scratches super easily. The main thing I use my iPhone 5S for when I'm doing videos are case and accessory reviews, and just putting a case on and off managed to scratch the bevel on this iPhone 5S, which I think is a big shame. Now another area that Apple actually overlooked was the size of the screen. This is the same size screen as the iPhone 5, and whilst all of Apple's competitors have changed their screen sizes or offer up multiple different screen sizes, Apple have stayed still. They've stayed sort of true to their convictions really, that this is large enough. But when you've got Google Android mobile phones that are available with really nice, large and full HD screens, I think Apple need to sit up and listen sometimes. A lot of people really do criticise Apple for being sort of very stagnant when it comes to moving forwards with new technologies. They seem to sit back and watch for a very long time before they change anything in their lineup. And that was a good thing for them to do in the early days when they had a real stronghold on the smartphone market. But I think nowadays they really do need to start thinking, is this screen size big enough? Do people really want a large screen phone? And yes, they do. So I think Apple need to really think about introducing something next time around with the iPhone 6 with a larger screen size, or maybe offer two different screen sizes. I know that's not normally something Apple do, but they really should consider doing that next time round. Now with regards to some of the new features they introduced, and these are real big selling points and have really made me fall in love with the iPhone 5S. The first one is the Touch ID, this fingerprint sensor that allows me to unlock my device really easily. No longer have I got to put in a passcode to unlock my device, and the same goes for making purchases on the App Store. I can just touch my thumb or my finger on the sensor and it works every single time. Now you can train different fingers, even different items. You saw me do a video where I unlocked my iPhone 5S with a hot dog, and it just works very, very well. They've done the technology right. We've seen just recently that HTC have launched a new One Max, a really big screen mobile phone with a fingerprint sensor on the back, and the reviews on that have come back not that great actually. Apparently it's not that reliable and the placement of it is absolutely ridiculous. So Apple did it right with their Touch ID finger sensor on the front here. Something Apple also did, and this sort of goes back a little bit to me telling you about how they do incremental upgrades, is with the camera. Now they didn't do anything groundbreaking, it stayed the same megapixel rating, but what they did actually introduce were larger pixels on a larger sensor, so better low light capability. They also introduced this true tone flash on the back, which gives you much better colours when you're doing flash photography. The actual reproduction on this camera for both photos and video is absolutely fantastic. You really cannot fault it, and I still to this day think that Apple have the best smartphone camera on the market. They also upgraded the front-facing camera, so it's a little bit better resolution, so when you're doing video conferencing or perhaps you're doing selfies, yes, people do take photographs of themselves using that front-facing camera, they do come out a little bit better. It's not night and day compared to the old one, but it is a little bit of an improvement over previous generations of iPhones. The performance on this, the new A7 processor in here and the new co-processor as well, they really have done a great job on improving the performance. There still are some stutters So you do still get some little tiny glitches when you're transitioning between screens or applications launching, etc. It's not faultless, but I think that's down to the new iOS 7 software. I think they still need to implement some tweaks into the new software to really make it run fluidly smooth. It's not like Apple actually to have an iOS that doesn't perform to its optimum capabilities, and I think they've missed a trick with this. I think they rushed iOS 7 out, in fact, and all of the eye candy that they've given you is not that fantastic. I'm still trying to grow to love this to its full potential. I'm just not sold on it yet. The functionality is great, I just don't like the way it looks quite yet. And I heard somebody comment that the Google app icons for etc. look better than Apple's own icons, and I tend to agree. Overall though, the performance on this has been absolutely fantastic. Battery life, I think, has improved. Before I'd get through a whole day quite easily, now I get through a whole day very, very easily with plenty of capacity in the battery to spare. Nothing's really changed, as you know, regarding the form factor. It's still a wonderful looking device. I just think that they really should concentrate on making this more robust. I mentioned right at the beginning of this video that the beveled edges mark very easily, and as do the beveled edges on the back. And even though this isn't in the case now, as it was in the outset of this video, it's still got a glass screen protector on and a back film protector on, just to keep it in as nice a condition as I can. But it is still a very, very delicate device, but I do admit that it does look absolutely gorgeous. Now, I've talked to you about battery life. One thing that people do overlook in these video reviews is talking about actual phone call quality and audio quality. After all, that's what a smartphone is meant to be for. I know primarily we use them now for maybe texting, tweeting, Instagramming our latest creation when we've actually cooked a meal or gone out to a restaurant. But a smartphone is meant to be used for making and taking phone calls. Now, with regards to the earpiece up the top here, incoming call quality, crystal clear, no issues at all with incoming calls. Outgoing call quality through the microphone, absolutely brilliant. One thing that isn't quite up to par, or quite up to standard, is the actual speakerphone quality. So when you've got this in speakerphone mode, so you've maybe got it on a desk or in a car and you're speaking to somebody while you're traveling, the actual quality of the audio coming out the bottom speaker here is a little tiny bit coarse and grating. It's not true clarity that you would expect from a quality device. It's not a deal breaker by any means. Believe me, it's still very, very clear, but actually it's not 100%. If I had to give it a mark, probably about 85% there, but Apple could do better with that. The actual music quality, if you stick in a pair of headphones into the 3.5mm audio jack on the bottom, really very good. And I tested a lot of headphones using the iPhone 5S, and it is a good amplifier inside and good quality audio that you're getting out of that headphone jack. So is this the best iPhone to date? Well, actually it is. It is Apple's best iPhone that they've ever produced. The iPhone 5S is a really good performer. It's got a very clear, really nice looking screen, and the actual battery life, audio quality, all add up to a really nice package. And when you add into it the selection of apps, we all know there are some fantastic apps available in the App Store. You've got a really full functioning handheld computer here, and I think that Apple have done really well implementing this new Touch ID feature. For somebody also that's interested in photography, the camera, absolutely superb. I love the camera. In fact, in one of my videos I showed you a photo where I'd taken a photo of the sun and the moon. So the sun was setting, the moon was higher up in the sky in the one photo, and I've looked back at that photo and actually magnified it on my screen behind me here, and it is really good quality. Such a good camera on the iPhone 5S. So that's it for my video. If you're looking for a really good smartphone, then I can highly recommend the iPhone 5S. There is a lot of choice out there nowadays. If you're not tied into an operating system, then maybe have a look at what Google Android handsets have to offer. But if you like Apple products, this is definitely the best iPhone to date. So thanks very much for watching this video. I will see you all in the next one.